Yeah, Jaxson got off to a good start in his first game. I thought his legs were a really big factor in them winning that football game. And his legs came alive on third down, and it came alive in the red zone. And they kind of used him that way in the preseason and the regular season, even before he got the start. So that's definitely a dimension that he had coming out of college. So made a bunch of plays for them in last week's game, and that was a big win for their team.
It looked like they were using like a lot of tempo, a lot of RPO stuff. Like, what do those elements do to stress out or challenge the defense?
They're just creating more space for him to be able to see, and I think they're creating space for their playmakers too, both in the run game and in the pass game. And then he can just play point guard and kind of hit the open guy.
Do you see any similarities with how the Giants are operating to how y'all have been operating with Spencer? It kind of feels like quarterbacking is being asked to do similar things.
Um, I see some similarities. I can see how you would think that. I think that certainly Spencer's got a full year of playing under his belt, and he started a bunch of games last year. So I think that for any new quarterback in the NFL, there's that learning curve, and you want to make them feel comfortable. You want them to play fast and truly be able to run the show the way that they've probably always done it. So I think that was a really good game plan that Brian and Mike and that group from New York put in place last week. It gave him a really good chance to be successful. And I think they did the same thing in the preseason. I thought he played fast, he was decisive, and I thought you were able to see the playmaking ability, both with his arms and his legs. And, I know Kellen's doing the same thing with Spencer, and I think that you've seen Spencer play that way through 4 games. He's been able to, show what he can do. And I think that Spencer's done a great job of taking care of the football. And I think that's something that Jaxson did a good job of last week, too.
You saw you moved Carl inside. He got a sack. I think it was against Torrance last week.
Yeah.
Does it take a certain kind of skill set for somebody to bump inside to rush the passer? Like, would you be able to do that with just anybody, or is it kind of?
No, great point. No, it's definitely a different rush angle. It's a different rush timing. There's some of the best rushers outside that don't like it inside, and vice versa. So, Carl's got the skill set where, going inside, he's got the quickness, but he also has the length with his arms that bothers people. So I think he's got quickness and length that gives him the ability to rush inside. And then he's got really good instincts inside. So he's got the quickness that I think favors, an outside guy that goes inside. And I thought you saw it on that particular rush.
What's your assessment of the tackling so far? And I know a lot goes into tackling. And is there anything you're pinpointing that you'd like to be more consistent at?
Yeah, Mike, I mean, it's a fundamental that we work more than any other one outside of, the takeaways too. Those are the 2 that we probably work the most. Our tackling was not good enough in the Buffalo game. It's a element that, we need to improve going into this game. But I thought we've been physical the whole year. So I've really liked our physicality the whole year from a tackling perspective. I think our angles, and then in this last game, I thought we reached for a couple too many, where running through contact is always the better fundamental. So we got to keep stressing it, keep emphasizing it, and then we get another chance at it this week.
I was talking to one player who said something that is a mentality this team has to go for it and to be the aggressive, I guess, maybe first one to the ball.
Yeah.
Which requires other people to be in a position to back you up, I guess. I mean, is that a mentality you believe in?
Definitely. I think space is the enemy of tackling. And I think what bothers offensive players the most is people that do go for it, making sure that you attack your leverage. But when you go for it and you're decisive, it has a real impact on how they run the ball, and it slows them down. And then if you've got the right pursuit, then you're able to get, I think, more takeaway attempts. And so I think that's been a strength of ours, is our pursuit of the ball. I think, outside of the bubble screen, which was kind of a weird deal where he's down and then kind of up, I think none of our misses went a long way. And I think that's been a positive for us all year, is if we've missed, there's been a guy there to knock it down. But I think from a fundamental standpoint, we all agree on defense that we didn't tackle well enough against Buffalo.
I know we've asked about Jonas kind of a lot recently, but what do you remember about the pre-draft process with him? Just when did you kind of discover, like, oh, this is a guy that is really interesting?
I remember it well because my family was still back in California, and so I was here, and it was late at night, and I just got done with like a workout kind of later on than normal, and I did him, that one evening when I was really fresh, and I started by watching his tackling tape. It's kind of what I usually start with safeties is tackling, then all their ball production, all their slot cover, and then just watching games. And one thing that really stood out to me about him was that his tackling tape was as good as any safety in the draft. And then the fact that he played special teams, I mean, his special teams tape was unbelievable. And he would be basically playing like a full game at Virginia, a full defense and then 3 out of 4 special teams. So I was just like, this guy must have great stamina, and so it was very impressive. And then I felt like in the passing game, you saw the range. You saw him doing pro safety jobs. And then I think our scouting department did a great job of identifying him and his makeup, kind of how he was wired. And then Grady Brown went and worked him out in Charlottesville and felt very strongly about him as well. And so I think we had great consensus on him as a player. I thought our scouting department did a great job of identifying him as someone early in the process, Jeff Ireland and his staff, and he's lived up to that.
How could that work out? Was he one of the first ones, or your first one was one of 15? Can you just clarify, like, you're sitting down to watch safeties, is he like the first one you're watching?
You kind of just get a list of guys, so I was just kind of going down the list, But when I did him, I was very fresh, and I just think that even before his first start, I went back and kind of shared that story with him, and I was like, hey, here's the write-up that I had on you. And so we want him to be that guy. We know that there's going to be a lot to learn, and this process at the beginning, he's going to make some mistakes, but we know he has what it takes. And as I've told you guys, it's just the experience. He just needs to see more, play more. But last week was a good showcase for his playmaking, and now there's some little things that we need to continue to improve.
I was going to ask how impressive was that, showing that range on that interception that he had?
Yeah, that's a big-time NFL play. I think anybody that was at the game, seeing it live, knew that was a special play against a special quarterback. Because a post break like that, outside the numbers, that's one of those big-time deals that doesn't happen a lot. And not only to get there, but to finish it, it was exciting for all of us.
Is it more about recognition than maybe athleticism, like that first step? Because it seemed like he was looking before the ball was even out.
Yeah, it's both. Yeah, I think it's a key diagnosed position. Anytime you're in the middle of the defense, key diagnosis is as important as any trait, linebacker, nickel, safety. So he did have that play recognition, and I think he saw Josh trying to look him off, kind of knew that he was getting looked off, and then you saw that early break, and then he just has the athleticism, the speed to get there faster than most. And what was most important is that he finished it, because there's a lot of guys that can get there and it's an incompletion, but to finish that play, that was a big lift for our team.
Dylan talks about, like, looking back at high school stuff with some of these prospects, like we were watching Pete Mantle Falls.
Well, I was at James Madison in 2014, so I do know what school he went to, the Covenant School. And again, I think it just shows you that you can get great players from a lot of different places, and that's why you look everywhere that you can find. And and I think with Jonas, the exciting part is there's a lot more in his game that he's going to showcase as we go. The toughness, the physicality, the key diagnose, that's all going to come, with more experience playing off NFL offenses and getting a feel for the game.
You can see Devon Gottschalk.
Just veteran getting a day off.
And Isaac Allen was listed with a hamstring injury. Was that something that was bothering him during the game, or was that?
I'll leave that to Kellen and Mickey.
What are your thoughts on just seeing Scatteroo? Is he kind of just like a throwback, halfback in the NFL when you watch this game?
He's a real back. Forces a lot of missed tackles. Is good in the passing game. Good vision, good balance and body control, and he's going for it. So he was that way in college. We've got a bunch of guys on our staff that coached against him in college. Very, very productive player.
How difficult is it to prepare for a team with the quarterback with only one NFL start, and then the offense loses its top receiver, so there's not like a go-to guy per se?
Yeah, I mean, we've got the body of work that we have, and then just, studying coming out. We've got some guys that were in the SEC that played against them as well. So, you're defending him and you're defending their offense. And they've got a lot of good weapons. Darius Slayton's a guy that I've played against extensively. He's been an outstanding receiver in the league for a long time. Jalen Hyatt was highly regarded coming out. And then they've got their runners and the tight ends. It's a very good tight end group. So I think, you're defending, like I said, both of those things. And at least, we have one game that we can look at and see how they felt like was the best plan for that week. But Brian and Mike do a really good job coaching, and I'm sure, one game into it, a lot like these guys is they keep getting better as they go.
Do you have to kind of make assumptions in situations like this of like how you think they're going to attack you with the rookie quarterback because you don't have the depth and you have guys on the outside with all that speed?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's both. You're kind of projecting, and then at the same time, you're making it about you, how you want to play versus them. So both of those things are happening at the same time. So we're just trying to look at the tape from the whole season, the preseason, trying to put all that together, and then, do what we do best and hopefully put a good game plan together.
What do you make of like the disparity between you guys are really good at limiting explosive plays, but when they do happen, like you guys are fifth in like 25 yards or more when the explosives do happen. Is that just how the game goes, or is there something you're seeing with the explosives that you do allow that kind of allow for?
Yeah, I mean, each one has a different story. They're kind of like turnovers, but for us, I think that we've done a good job of keeping the ball out of the deep part of the field, and then I think that we've done a good job of not having any of our missed tackles go for, catch and run. We haven't given up the big catch and run plays, and the one on Sunday against Buffalo, that was a weird sequence where DeMario has him, and he kind of is down, and then he kind of gets back up, and then Jonas doesn't get there because of the timing of it. That was a weird sequence, and you give Shakur credit. He made a great, run. But, I think our guys understand the importance of it. I know how much we emphasize it. I think that we've done a good job of it. And, I think we talked about this last week. I think, the thing that's, really going to turn things for us is the playmaking, when we get into those positions. In the deep part of the field is knocking a couple of these down where, like Jonas, you make a big play in the deep part of the field. It's a tip ball. It's an interception. Someone makes a great play with their back to the ball. That's what we need to kind of, I think, get this thing going in a special direction.